let's talk about the cleanup crew. I'm going to start with a little bit of premise information, and then we'll jump into character creation here, chat. I don't know if you can read this or not. I tried. But the cleanup crew is our next campaign. Campaign 2, Adventure 2. Thematically, as discussed by the players, we've landed on something that's going to prioritize exploration and roleplay. It is mostly inspired by like buddy cop procedural type stories with a kind of an action adventure flair. So think like Suicide Squad meets Loki is kind of the energy here. Maybe a hint of Bad Boys, the movie, not just like, oh, we can be bad boys. And as with any tabletop adventure, the first and most important thing is to talk about your safety features. We use lines and veils at our table, and basically a line is something that cannot happen in the story at all. A veil is something that can happen in the story, but we're not willing to roleplay it at the table. I put in my 2 to start with. My veils are, I don't care if there are romantic or sexual relationships in the world, but I'm not going to roleplay them. And I don't care if you torture people, but you have to do it off screen. And my lines are, I think, pretty stereotypical ones. They're SA and animal abuse, that I just don't want to see them in our adventure. Are there any that we need to add to this list before we carry on?
I couldn't think of any when I because every time you put those down and I'm always like, yep, those are mine too, and that's kind of it. But yeah, I couldn't think of any.
That's fine. You also can always say like, hey, let's pause for a second, and like we can just have like a little player chat. That can also like that can get weird if we're streaming. You can say like, hey, can we end the stream for a second? And that's also okay. And I'll just go like end the Twitch part, and then we'll just go back on Twitch 5 minutes later or whatever. Player safety is important. Prioritize it, DMs. So let's talk about the 10 world truths of our campaign and the log line of our campaign, I guess. I didn't even give us a log line. Where is it? Here we go. Salen, Queen of Gaim, has commanded the creation of a small, expendable task force capable of managing the strange arcane disturbances throughout the world. Your character, despite it either seeming at first blush like a poor choice for such a task, or despite not wanting to participate, is selected because of a specialization or talent uniquely suited to the need. You have been bribed, manipulated, charmed, cajoled, or simply invited and accepted to be a part of this small team. Your group will technically report to the Gemstone Guardians and be under their writ of authority. Here are some facts about the world. These are not just things that your characters know. They're things, or not just things that you as players know. They're things your characters know. Everybody knows this. It's like ubiquitous knowledge. So let's start at the top. Salen, Queen of Gaim, is one of only 3 royal powers in the world who lived through the Darkening. She is a dark-skinned dwarven woman seen as just and strict, but also fiercely protective of her people, regardless of their societal class, and she has never been seen to lose her composure in public. Number 2, Gaim, Salen's queendom, is a massive city-state that resides primarily in a gigantic hollowed-out cavern. The city is made up of large bridges that span across the open cavern with pendants the size of city blocks that serve as intersections. There are 10 tiers of these bridges, increasing in perceived value, societal class, and cleanliness the closer one gets to the bottom of the cavern where the Royal Palace and the Gemstone Guardians reside. The Gemstone Guardians, this is number 3, are Salen's personal guard, a guild of 10 exceptional warriors who operate independent of the militias and courts in Gaim and function exclusively to protect the royals. Each warrior is designated by a gem, gold, amethyst, etc., with gold having seniority, and each has a small squad of Gemstone wardens, handpicked for their potential to replace the Guardian should they fall in battle. Number 4, Chasm Jasper is the Gold Guardian and the most well-known because of his seniority among the Gemstone Guardians. Though, at his advanced age, he is rarely seen outside of Gaim's borders, and he has a few wardens, but nobody knows for sure who will take his place when he retires or dies. Number 5, The Darkening is a historical event that took place about 100 years ago and involved magic vanishing mysteriously from the world. Seemingly of its own volition, magic later returned along with many strange beasts, items, and unexplained phenomena throughout the world of Uredah. Number 6, stories have been appearing in pubs over the last 90 years of 4 heroes who claim to have fought an ancient evil called aboleths, alongside avatars of the 5 gods with their adventuring guild, 4 Guys, Adventures, and Vibes. Reception has been mixed, but mostly people think their stories invented to increase business for the so-called honorable dungeon delvers. The most cynical think that 4 Guys created these monsters, items, and unexplained phenomena themselves, but that's more like a conspiracy theorist section of the population. One of the founders, an orc named Zothkug, is well known in Gaim because he married Salen's daughter Caitlin. It is unclear what effect this will have on the line of succession, meaning it's unclear whether Zothkug has become a royal or whether Caitlyn has become a commoner. Caitlyn doesn't seem to care very much. Number 7. There are 5 major deities in the world. Zanir, god of order and the stars. Gomteus, god of chaos and the moon. Awara, goddess of trade and innovation. Kotix, the god of nature. And Kelnor, the god of hospitality. These gods are active in the world through 2 shared avatars, Onyx and Peace, although it's technically possible for a creature to travel to the outer planes and seek an audience with the deities themselves. The most common motivation for pledging allegiance to a god in this world is to seek magical boons from them, as magic is increasingly complex but very accessible. Number 8. Magic is more primal and raw now than the history books say it was before the Darkening. For 90 years or so, society has been adapting to a magic that is more accessible. You don't need to be born arcane, and yet more complex, because it requires greater acuity to actually use magic now. The consequence is that while everybody is familiar with the concept of magic, in this new world, few creatures grow beyond very subtle basics. Number 9, and actually this is my last one, so there's only 9 truths about this world. Through the rebirth of the Eos Lore Foundation, there is at least a basic knowledge of the weave in the world. All things on the material plane are connected to and permeated by the weave. The weave also connects the material plane to the outer planes via large ley lines. Sentient creatures move among the threads of the weave, somehow both drawing energy from and returning energy to the weave. With practice, creatures may learn to identify the signs of surplus energy and draw that energy out of the weave, anchoring it to themselves. These knots of magic usually appear as small tattoos on the adept's body, and once used, they disappear. If a creature is killed, the knots of magic on their body can be tediously unwound and retied to another. Artificers have spent much time devoted to learning how to capture and sustain these knots of magic in various devices. Some more archaic, like wands and amulets, but some far more modern, like small timekeepers and even firearms. Nobody seems to have cracked a truly permanent solution yet. All artifice breaks with enough wear and tear. For reasons that are not well understood, some creatures gain permanent magical abilities. It's not known whether their bodies begin producing the same energy that floods the weave, whether they've inherited their powers, or whether some other effect is to blame. These creatures are incredibly rare and tend not to make their magical abilities known publicly because of the stir it could cause. In a magical sense, this is just saying how the world has adapted to become the Cypher system. And those are the truths that we have about the world. I also have asked my players to think a lot about their character before today. I've given them a list of things that I want them to figure out previously that are more about the character. So they should have a good idea of the concept. What we're going to focus on today is taking that concept and putting it onto a character sheet. And then we're also going to make some group decisions about our characters, but we'll do that at the end.
Nice.
Sorry, my mom keeps calling me. If she calls me one more time, I'm going to take this call on mute really quick.
My dad called me earlier. We're just getting calls from our parents.
Yeah. She's 2 times in a row is weird when your mom is calling you. So just make sure. But it's okay. It looks like she's stopped at 2. So whatever the emergency is, it can't be that bad. Okay. Let's begin. Let's begin with our character creation. There is an online character creator, which I know some of you are using. Some of you can't use that for whatever reason. I know I have a custom focus with one of you has a custom race. So whether you're doing a character sheet or the online character creator, you get to choose. I'm going to use the character sheet on here, and I'm going to make Chasm Jasper just so that there's something to follow along with in case you don't have the guided character creator to walk you through making your character. But we're going to all do this at the same time for our own characters. So you don't need to watch me and then do yours. So I know that my guy's name is Chasm Jasper, and you all know your character's name, so you can fill those in. In the Cypher system, you are a blank blank who blanks. There's actually 2 extra components to that sentence because we get 2 descriptors when we're using the fantasy supplement. One of them is your race or your heritage or however you want to say it right now. So you're an adjective, species, type, who, focus, and you might have a flavor. I'm going to start with type because that is kind of the core of your character. It's the most analogous to a D&D class. So the types, there are warriors, adepts, speakers, and explorers. Chasm Jasper is definitely a warrior. He's a knight, essentially, an honor guard. And the next thing I'm going to do is give him his descriptors. So he's a blank blank warrior. He's an adjective dwarf. We know that he's a dwarf. And then let's have a look at our descriptor options. This is the Cypher system SRD that I have up on screen with me here. My players also have this link in the Notion dashboard that they spent 15 minutes trying to figure out how to access at the beginning of the stream. So here's a list of basically adjectives that we can apply to things.
I just want to say, in defense, it wasn't trying to access those resources. It was trying to edit a form-fillable PDF.
At least two of us had the same problem, so Josh is making us look like fools.
I've actually engineered this to be as complicated for you as possible. I really want you to struggle in front of the world. That was kind of my goal here.
Yeah, we know your game. We know you.
Yeah, you know me. I'm out to get you. I think Chasm Jasper, I'm going to go with honorable as his descriptor. You are trustworthy, fair, and forthright. You try to do what is right to help others. That feels like, honor guard type stuff. Honorable dwarf. At the end, once I filled in this sentence, chat, I will go back and we'll see what abilities this actually gives us. Sorry, I just saw that chat wrote a poem about Camp Blunder. Okay.
Yeah, it's a sweet poem.
I looked over to check chat, but it's so tiny on this overlay with the screen share. Like, it's crammed so tiny underneath my camera. Okay. Honorable dwarf warrior and then he gets a focus. And this is where a lot of the cool parts of your character abilities will come from. Your focus is like it gives you the most options. The other things mostly are just like, here's what you get. And then the focus, you get some cool choices. So we've got like abides in stone, absorbs energy, awakens dreams. I found one for him earlier that I thought would be good. And I think it's defends the gate is maybe what it was called. Yeah, defends the gate. Everyone wants you on their side when it comes to a fight because nothing gets by you. Again, just kind of leaning in pretty heavily to the defense thing. Defends the gate. And then we decide if he's... My mom is calling me a third time. Give me 1 second. I'm going to...
You're good.
Hello, chat.
You're
our problem now.
This gives us time to go slow.
So...
I guess hear me out.
I guess we kind of don't want to talk about our characters just yet.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're supposed to be introduced to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I got a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
There's some fun stuff here.
I came with the character sheet already made because I didn't know we were making them on stream.
I thought we were doing it more like the last
you got
one.
It.
Well,
I also thought we were doing it more like the last one.
Like one at a time. This Josh is just throwing us under the bus, guys. Let's all say 3 reasons why we're all better GMs than Josh.
No, I don't want that responsibility.
You all go first.
Well, okay. Reason number one.
I'm not a better GM than Josh, nor do I make a claim to be.
You're like, I don't want to face the consequences of these things that I would be saying.
He's gonna go back and see this recording. And...
I don't even want to say them because they're not true.
Clearly I'm just a better DM because I'm more organized. I'm more thorough in my notes.
For sure.
Yeah. Clearly,
your
a thing that's
character sheet management.
I'm well known for.
Mm.
How about you over there, Jake?
Oh, I'm a better GM because I totally GM all the time. It's not like I haven't GM'd since I was in high school. And
like Josh.
Clearly. Like Josh. Jeez. I've totally GM'd multiple systems and not just... Well, I guess I've GM'd different editions of Dungeons and Dragons, but never outside of D&D, I don't think. I'm not scared. Why would you ever think that I'd be scared to GM again? Because it's been so long. And
Never.
I'm not sure whether I would be able to do it well. Why would you say that?
Yeah. I would never would have said that.
So those are the reasons why I'm a better GM.
Yeah, that's good.
How about you, Mike?
Oh, I'm not. He's incredible. I don't know.
We share
I
that.
don't know who could top him. No, I'm prettier. I'm nice. I'm a nice guy.
Whoa!
I'm a nice guy.
And I'm gay. So
Oh.
I think that those are
up and up and up.
I think those are all qualities that that are going to keep us up.
Check.
Yes.
There you go.
Geez, entertaining a crowd when the guy who's supposed to do it
All right, so let's talk about the real things here, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about what it means to cleave the Falcon.
You said we weren't going to touch on it again.
You know what? You're right. Sorry. We won't ever talk about it ever again.
Thank you. There we go. That was close.
Well, we can use the phrase. We just can't talk about its meaning.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's our guy.
I'm back. Hey, everybody.
Is everything okay?
Everything's fine.
Good.
Okay.
Was she just telling you how good of a job you're doing?
No, it was just...
And how you're a great GM and none of us think we could do it better.
Yeah, she was just calling to tell me how great I was at DMing.
Great.
Or at GMing. It's GMing in this system.
Yeah.
We've been saying it correctly.
Yeah. I just haven't been. Okay, so the last piece here that I might choose for my guy is some flavor. He's a warrior. Let me see what the flavor options are. This is a way for you to take elements of, if you don't want someone who's only a warrior, it's ways to modify the type a little bit. So you might be able to substitute your type abilities with some other ones. I don't think that he needs to be stealthy, so we're not going to use that. I don't think he needs a technology flavor. He might get a little magic flavor. That could be kind of fun. Give him a couple of magical abilities as a Gemstone Guardian. Obviously not going to give him a combat flavor. Let's give him a little magic flavor. Just a little hint of Arcana in there. Defends the gate with a magic flavor. Boom. And he's going to be tier 1 for now. We're actually going to advance his tier tonight. And players, we'll talk about that later too, because I want to give you a chance, if you want, to just start on tier 2, just so you get some more fun things. But we'll come back to that. So this character sentence that I've just filled in tells us everything there is to know about Chasm Jasper. So I'm going to start back up here on my type, because the noun is the powerhouse of the cell, and see what it says about warriors. So coming down here, we know that his stat pools are going to begin with a 10, 10, and an 8. And then I have an additional 6 points to divide among my stat pools. So let's see here. I think he's going to be... We'll give 2 points to intellect, 4 points to might, and that's 6, right? 2 and 4 is 6. Yeah. Let's do 1 point to intellect and give 1 point to speed. That's pretty good right there. And then we also know, so that's his pool size. The reason that these are different, in case you aren't familiar with the Cypher system, chat, is that in addition to just being an ability score, you also spend those resources. They're more like mana than they are like D&D ability scores. So the pool is like his maximum, but then up here on like the big number is where I would track if he had used some of those points to do abilities. And then he also gets 1 level of effort because he's a first tier warrior. So that means he can ease tasks by 1 by applying extra effort to them. His edge is determined by his physical nature. You have a might edge of 1, a speed and a speed edge of 0, or a might edge of 0 and a speed edge of 1. I'm going to give him an edge in might. This is a strong knight man. He can bear 2 ciphers at a time. There it is. Limits in the bottom right corner here. Oh, they forgot to make it fillable. I can't fill a PDF, guys. Help.
Have you tried downloading it, Josh? Oh, my God.
You can fill it in any browser. You don't need Adobe.
First folder, the first
Oh, my
link.
God.
Oh, my. We're holding up the stream here, Josh.
Just explode.
It's crazy that you can't figure this out. I can't believe.
I can't believe it. I can't believe that. Weapons. He becomes practiced with light, medium, and heavy weapons, so he'll suffer no penalty for any of those. I'm going to put that as a skill. Light, medium, heavy weapons. And he is practiced. There are levels of skill competency in the Cypher system. Practiced means you take no negative penalties with the skill. So there are things you have to be practiced just to attempt. Then you can be trained or specialized, which makes it easier when you do them. So they're like benefits to actually using that skill. So he doesn't get any like easing of tasks. It's just that he's allowed to do it without taking any negative penalties. That's what it means to be practiced. Let's see. What else is down here? Starting equipment, appropriate clothing, 2 weapons of choice. Let's put that under equipment here. So he's got his Gemstone Guardians attire, and we've got, what else is in here? 2 weapons of your choice. For sure, he's going to have a heavy sword, like a 2-handed great sword kind of thing I'm picturing. And that's a heavy, so that's going to deal 3 points of damage, or 4 points even. And we'll do... What should his other weapon be? What's like a ceremonial weapon that he might carry? You don't have to answer this, player. Sorry, I'm just brainstorming because I'm trying to make it interesting for the chat a little bit here. Maybe like a spear. He might have like a ceremonial spear. That's probably a medium spear. Ceremonial, medium, spear... mediums. It's like a level 3. Okay, and then he also gets 1 expensive item. Let's start with this, and then I'll figure out what they are. So 1 expensive item, 2 moderately priced items, 4 inexpensive items. Items are a lot more fluid in the Cypher system. You don't need to like follow a strict rule set for them because cost is abstracted. So there are 5 price categories. In this case, I'll start with my expensive item. An expensive item is something that would strain a common person's finances, like rent on a simple apartment, a major piece of furniture, a really nice outfit, cost to travel a really long distance, something like that. I think that his expensive item is probably like a personal office somewhere. I think Chasm
I feel like that's like what, like $500 to $1,000 in like a real life like thought process.
Yeah, probably something in that space. So like that would be enough to rent out like your own personal office space or something like that. A personal office with, we'll say, like moderately fancy furniture and stuff inside, furnishings. Great. So he has this personal office. 2 moderately priced items. A moderately priced item is something common people buy, but not often and not in great quantities, like furniture, major entertainment, expensive meal, new outfit. I think his 2 moderately priced items are going to be like tools for his job. So I think he's probably got a 1-armed shield that he can strap to his arm when he has a ceremonial spear. He's got his ceremonial shield as well. Ceremonial shield, and then his other tool of his job, I think he has maybe he's got access to an artifact through, Gaim is a place of masterwork stuff, so I think he's going to have 1 artifact, maybe an artifact it'll function like hold person in D&D did, so it gives him the ability to like, oh, someone's attacking my ward, I need to just freeze them in place so we can react. And let's see what that level will be. Would somebody mind rolling a d6 for me? We're going to do a d6 plus 2 as his hold person artifact level.
My roll on the d6 was a 1, plus 2 is 3.
Okay. So that's a artifact of level 3, and we'll do a depletion of a d20 on that. For your benefit, chat, all artifacts have a depletion die. If you roll a 1 on that die, then this use of it is the last time. So every time he activates his hold person artifact, I'll roll a d20, and if the d20 is a 1, then it breaks after this use. Okay, and then he has 4 inexpensive items. Inexpensive items, something that common people buy, like a simple meal, a drink in the bar, a pen and some paper, a book and a magazine. This is your... instead of having like your generic issue adventurers pack with a bunch of stuff you'll never ever use but you're carrying for some reason, this is where you would buy those things. So for him, I think he's probably got he's got his ID or maybe his writ of authority. That's probably what they have. Writ of authority. It's like a fancy scroll. He's got a couple little like equipment pouches that are sewn into his attire. He's got... I kind of want to give him pocket sand, but I feel like that's a little bit too much of a bit. He's probably got like one of those big jangly iron key rings, like as a gemstone guardian. He's got like, the key to every building in the palace kind of a thing. Or we'll just say a master key to the palace. And what's one more kind of inexpensive item, something he might have? Maybe note-taking stuff. He's got like a little Yeah, we'll just say a notebook. He's got a little notebook and pen that he carries to take notes on important stuff. So his ceremonial shield would count as an asset to defense tasks, which, yeah, if any of you choose to take a shield, the way that like all shields, regardless of whether you choose a tower shield or a buckler, are an asset to your defensive tasks, meaning that whenever you make a defense roll, the difficulty is eased by 1 step if you use your shield. Okay, so that is his equipment, and then we get 4 special abilities from what's listed below, and then I can choose to swap some of them out with magical flavor if I want. So let's start by just seeing what we've got access to here. Combat prowess seems like a pretty good one just to start with, but I'm gonna look at all of them, chat, so you're gonna have to watch me research a little bit here. Bash is a pummeling attack that dazes your target for 1 round. Control the field it lets you maneuver someone you're attacking. That's definitely something that an honor guard would have. So he's got control the field. Melee attack inflicts 1 less point of damage, and regardless of whether you hit the target, you maneuver it into a position you desire within immediate range action. And that costs 1 might point to activate. Let's see what else we got going on here. We've got Overwatch. That seems like something that might be fitting for him. Use a ranged weapon to target a limited area and make an attack against the next viable target to enter that area. It works like a wait action, but you also negate any benefit the target would have from cover, position, etc., etc., and you get a bonus point of damage. You can remain on Overwatch as long as you wish. That tracks. Overwatch, 1 intellect point. I'm going to copy and paste instead of retyping the entire ability description. Look at me go, chat. Let's see what else we're looking at here. I like swipe maybe. I'm going to take a look at the 2 armor options. Quick, agile melee attack. That's swipe. 1 less point of damage, but dazes. I don't think he needs to daze people. And I think he's going to be trained without armor rather than practiced in armor because he's like a bodyguard, an honor guard. That's a person who's got to wear like a suit or, look ceremonial sometimes.
Didn't the Gemstone Guardians have super cool gem armor, or is that a thing of the past?
They do, but this guy's like old and aged out of a lot of the like physical combat things. He's like a supervisor.
Gotcha.
But you're right. Like they do have a really dope armor that's like themed around their gem because each one's a different gem.
Gotcha. So he just hates wearing it.
Yeah, he just doesn't wear it. Trained without armor. Ease speed tasks without armor. And that will cost... that's a trained, is what he is there. Okay. And the pool is speed. Hello, Lupin. Lupin has come downstairs to check on me. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then I think I'm going to take my last ability from his magic flavor. We'll give him 1 magic-y thing. Premonition might be a cool thing for an honor guard to have. Premonition, you learn 1 random fact about a creature or location that is pertinent to a topic you designate. Alternatively, you choose to learn a creature's level. However, if you do so, you cannot learn anything about it later with this ability. That seems like something he would want a lot. So let's put that under special abilities. Premonition. 2 intellect points. I should be copying and pasting this. How are you doing, players? You finding everything you need okay?
I think I got it.
I'm stuck in abilities right now.
I'm not done.
I'm about to be finished. I need to.
What?
I need you to tell me what the spider stuff is.
Oh,
I'm so far behind.
Cleo's still deleting things about Fork.
I'm not. I'm going through abilities.
I'm just memeing on ya.
He's just memeing.
Calm down.
Okay, so that was his type. Let's take a look at his descriptors next, his adjectives, which I guess means I have to scroll for miles. There we go. Descriptor. List of descriptors. He's honorable. You are trustworthy, fair. Okay, so he gets 2 more points in his might pool. Let's go. For 16. Trained in pleasant social interactions.
That's me.
Do you want us to just pick out equipment as described, or are we doing custom equipment like we did for the...
Pick out the equipment as described, but use it to make yourself like your stuff. Like it just tells you what the cost boundaries are. So just pick things that fit your character and the cost. Okay, train in discerning people's motives or seeing through lies. Seeing through their lives.
I see through your life.
Discerning motives, seeing through lies. He's trained. Sorry if you're hearing Lupin barking. I believe my sister has just arrived at my home. Okay, initial
Tell her I
link
say hi.
we don't care about. Okay, so that's one of them. And then let's learn about dwarf, which is going to be under the fantasy genre information here. There it is. +2 to my might pool again. 18. This is going to be one buff dude. Trained in might defense rolls. Trained in tasks related to stone. Wow, we got some cool stuff from being a dwarf here.
I got, for one of my descriptors, I get some downsides that are pretty funny, honestly.
Nice. I look forward to learning about them.
Yep.
And then trained in using the tools required to shape and mine stone. Shape and mine stone with tools. Trained. Vulnerability. When you fail an intellect defense roll, you take an extra point of damage. You fail intellect defense, you take 1 extra point of damage. I spelled defense without an E at the end. I'm so sorry. Vulnerability. Additional equipment. You have an axe. You have my axe. Axe. Maybe it's a throwing axe. We're going to give him a thrown axe. That's cool.
There you go.
Okay, so that's his dwarfy stuff. And then we're looking at defending the gate. Let's see, where is that? Focus. He defends the gate, which starts with D. There it is. Defends the gate. At tier 1, you get fortified position. For the next minute, you gain +1 armor and an asset to your might defense rolls as long as you haven't moved more than an immediate distance. So he picks somewhere, and then he's really buff there. And he also gets rally to me. Sorry, what was that?
I do have a question. If I have a racial modifier and also a focus modifier that both make it so I have improved weapon damage unarmed, they both would make them medium weapons.
They would stack from, so like if you're trained, it would become specialized. So you would get 2 steps of ease instead of...
One says they count as medium weapons, and the other one says they count as medium weapons. I guess is what I'm getting at.
Are you already trained in medium weapons?
I mean, yeah.
So just give yourself a specialization with that weapon or whatever, that tool.
Okay.
So you're trained with all medium weapons. So any medium weapon, you ease the task by 1 step when you attack. But when you use whatever that specific weapon was that I've already forgotten, you ease the task by 2 steps because you're specialized in that weapon.
To clarify, it isn't easing the task. It's making a weapon that was light into a medium weapon.
So you deal more damage with it?
Yeah.
Then just make it heavy.
Could I make it a...
Deal 4 points of damage. Basically what I'm saying is abilities that say the same thing can be stacked. So figure out what the logical stack is, and that's what you would get.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Now, we actually have in the chat tonight the inventor of the Cipiders. So hopefully when I give Mike his heritage stats here, I don't offend that folk too much here. And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna pull up one of the other fantasy creatures so that I get approximately the right number of benefits and such for you.
Thank you.
But this is gonna be good. You're gonna get good stuff. Okay, so here's the dwarf. So it looks like there's some bonus to one of your pools for sure. For the Cipiders, it's speed. Get +2 to your speed pool, and then tell me when you're ready for the next one.
Yep.
You get a skill in navigating water. Anything with shallow water counts as if you were walking on dry land for your move speed. You don't have to wade or anything like that. The Cipiders are descended from seafaring giant spiders. They know their way around like watery terrain.
Oh, hold on. Actually, give me a minute. I need to do this. It did not do what I thought it would. Okay. Sorry. +2 to speed. I'll write these down physically.
What I want you to do is get good, Mike. Can you do that for me?
Thank you. I'll learn to read. There we go.
I'll learn to read.
There we go. +2 speed. Anything for you, Joshy? Let's go.
Let's go. Okay. You are you navigate shallow water as if it was dry land.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. Let's come up with another skill for the Cipiders. You are defense rolls against something that you cannot see are eased by 1 step because you got those compound eyes. For those of you, by the way, who may not know in the chat, a Cipider, as described by their inventor, is a humanoid creature with a spider's head. So spider's head and mandibles, between 2 and 4 arms, and then legs are the Cipiders.
What was that one? Defense rolls against things I can't see are eased?
Yeah, eased by 1 step. Basically, it's harder to sneak up on you and get that little sneak attack going on.
I love it.
I think you are trained in climbing just because of your extra 2 arms or your general spidery heritage. I think you have a vulnerability that fire damage deals 1 extra point of damage to you than it would to other people. Because Spideys don't like fires.
Who does, dude?
Yeah, that's also true, though. Who likes fire? But, like, really, when you're,
I'm not thriving anytime I step into a bonfire, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And let's see. Do we need to give you an additional equipment for being a Cipider?
Probably.
Maybe as a Cipider, you've got... I don't know if you've decided to have 2 arms or 4 arms, but probably all Cipiders from a young age are given like a cloak that will disguise the fact that you have a bonus set of arms if you have them. So you've got like a cloak that just, it looks like a normal traveling cloak when you're wearing it, but it just is to hide the fact that you got bonus arms.
An arm binder.
Yeah, exactly. So that is, those are the Cipider traits. And please DM them to me later so I can make note of them somewhere in case we ever have another Cipider in the game.
I gotcha.
Does anybody else need clarification or homebrew rules?
Yes.
What do you need, buddy?
So as part of the perceptive trait or what is it? Classes?
Is it a descriptor, an adjective?
Right. Yeah, an adjective.
Okay.
One of the equipment items is a bag of light tools. What would those tools, I guess, like, kind of be?
You have no skill at picking up on social cues. That's funny. You pick out small details in the world around you and are skilled at making deductions from the information you find. I would say those light tools seem to me, it seems like a double meaning to me, where it's like they're also light related tools. I bet you've got like maybe we'll say an artifact that creates light on the scale of like a very small torch or embers, like an immediate distance. The depletion die on that will be a D8. So it's like pretty cheap. You can have it repaired if it's broken. And then we'll make it a level 2. And then you also probably have a magnifying glass.
Yep.
And then either binoculars or a telescope. Your decision.
Binoculars.
Okay, you've got binoculars, and that's probably what's in there.
Okay.
That's your perceptive tools, as it were. And maybe if you don't already have one, you probably also have a little notebook and pen in there to make notes. Cool. So that's what I would say those are.
Okay.
Anything else you need?
I think that's it for me.
What about you, Jake?
I think I understand the dirt folk stuff pretty good right now. So what I did was, aside from my race, I built everything in the character creator, but now I'm copying it over to a form fillable PDF. Yeah,
filling out those forms.
I am, but I'm feeling good. I don't know. Are we supposed to talk about things about our character yet?
We're going to talk a little bit about them at the end of today's adventure because we have some stuff we need to work out as a group as far as like past encounters. So why don't, Cleo, do you need anything from me as far as homebrew help or anything, or are you just chugging along?
We agreed it was the abilities that start with the G plus the among the blank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I am right now. I think I've covered racial. I've covered my descriptor. I've covered my type.
Okay.
I'm now going over the focus. I do want to. Can I at least like leak a little bit and say what I'm looking at for my might pool?
Sure.
We're looking at 25.
Holy crap. Chasm Jasper is only 18 in his might pool right now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I may have put all 6 of the free points into my...
and then picked like descriptors and stuff to up it too. That's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so while you're finishing that up and anybody else who's still working, while you're still working, I'll talk about the next little pieces here. So we are going to very briefly meet our characters. I have had my players developing some secrets about their characters. We are not going to reveal those at the table, or possibly ever. They are things that may come up over the course of the story, but they don't have to. What we are going to talk about tonight is we're going to read our character sentences to each other, and we're going to get a little preview of that character. So we'll get some like talk in their voice and, you know, like a little bit of, we'll start to create who those characters are. And then as a group, we're going to figure out how the characters relate to each other. So what I mean by that, let me find my, I closed out of my little one pager. Here it is. So what we need to come up with as a group, and I'll just read out the options here. We'll do this at the end. Don't feel rushed. Choose one other character at the table with whom you have some sort of prior relationship. Define that relationship together. It should include the reason that you're drinking buddies at the local grub bugs, grubs, and mugs sometimes. So we're going to wind up with 2 pairings. Create a past minor conflict between the 2 pairings. Why do you have a slightly negative impression of each other, or what would make it a perceived challenge to work together? This is the buddy cop recipe, right? 2 people who don't have chemistry, but we have 4 people, so we have 2 groups who don't have chemistry who are going to be forced to work together. And then you're going to DM one of the 3 rumors about your character to each other. Actually, I think we can just, let's DM those to each other. Let's not read those tonight. But I've also had them create rumors about their characters that are just like, you know, the whispers in town, what people think of them at the pub. The rumors can be true or false, player's choice. And each player is going to start with 1 rumor about all the other characters. So like these are people who have been in the same tier of Gaim for a long time, and they've encountered each other, and they've at least come across each other, even if they're not like BFFs. Then we will choose a character growth arc for each character, and we're going to share that with the table so that we can all be looking for ways to help each other grow. If it ties in with your secrets, you don't need to explain what the secret is. You can just say, you know, here is the growth arc in general terms, basically. And then we're also going to choose a growth arc for the group, like assist an organization, establishment, growth, or uncover a secret. And just like character arcs, at the end of each session, we will determine whether our group has grown in their, like taken a step forward on their character arc. So you're going to be showered in XP is basically what I'm saying. Between 2 points of XP for every step on your personal character arc, 2 points of XP for every step on your group character arc, and then there is also a like quest arc that is just, are you taking steps towards finishing the quest? That is the campaign. So you'll also get 2 points. So that's a total of possibly 6 XP per session, not counting actually playing the game. And then on top of that, there's all your XP in the game. It means that at a minimum, you'll be able to tier up to a higher tier with your character every, 4 sessions? 3 sessions. Every 3 sessions, you'll have enough. 3 sessions. Every 3 sessions, if you get all of that XP, you'd be able to tier up to the next power level. So how are we doing just progress-wise on coming up with our different characters and creatures? It looks like Mike is done. Trevor, looks like maybe you were done. Trevor's done.
Yep.
Jake, are you done?
I'm nearly done.
Okay. And
I am
Cleo, how
just
are you
writing. Yeah.
I think I have everything.
Cool. I'm gonna while Cleo and Jake are just starting to wrap everything up, I'm gonna real quick show off some graphics here. Sorry, Mike, did you have a question?
Is it chill if I tinkle real quick?
Yeah, I mean, don't do it on stream.
Is
but,
that
like,
chill,
yeah,
guys? Is that okay? Is that like a vibing thing to do? Is go take a tinkle? Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. Is that a vibing thing to do?
Oh, you know what? I never did starting equipment.
You should do that. Anyway, while that's happening, I just wanted to show off some of the overlays. So you saw the starting soon screen. This is our little like pre-stream thing, and because we invented televibing, it's been 100 years. They're starting to have like those digital billboards in places, but the reception's not so great. So that's what these rotating slides are in the middle here. They're a bunch of callbacks and Easter eggs to our first campaign. Then we have this little place, which I'm not going to give away too much about what this little place is just yet, but it'll be relevant in every session. This is probably where we'll do most of our opening scenes. And then we've also got
our headquarters.
We've also got our gameplay scenes and obviously I'll need to fix the information about the players. But this is like, it's that Suicide Squad buddy cop thing, so these characters, however they get roped into the adventure, we've got little dossiers on them. So this is like each of you has a little dossier about you, a little folder. And then I'll be GMing.
I love the chat.
Yeah, I thought that was cool that I could make it look like Post-it notes instead, and it'll be tied into YouTube. Last time we streamed to YouTube, we didn't have the chat on screen at all, and we couldn't see anything from it. I was like, I got to figure out a solution for that. But anyway, so I'm very proud of this overlay. There's no AI work in this. I did all of the graphics here myself. I drew all the
really
vectors
good.
and stuff, so it was a fun little challenge for me. And then I'm also going to create a little spotlight page for each of us, where we'll have some information about your character over there. So this will be like during intros in the beginning, and maybe if you have like a hero scene or something where it's mostly you who is active, we might switch over to one of these views just to see each of you kind of in your front of the group here in the spotlight. So those are our overlays that we came up with here.
Very nice.
Yeah, fun stuff. Cleo and Jake, how are we doing as far as finishing up there? We feeling good?
I am just filling in my final dirt things because I've copied over everything else.
Nice.
So
take your
got
time.
literally 4 more things to copy paste.
Perfect.
Josh, are we starting with any ciphers?
Yes, let's have you start with ciphers. That'll be fun. Should I roll the ciphers for you, or do you want to speak into what you want the ciphers to be?
I think rolling is more fun.
That's pretty much what's going to be happening through the whole game, so it does kind of make sense that would be.
Let's do it.
That would be in there. All right, I'm pulling up the tables. Give me just a second. Yeah. I'm gonna grab my own dice. I don't need you to roll for me. I don't need you.
Calm down, dude. No one's challenging you.
Wow, so this is pretty open-ended when it comes to like picking items.
Yeah. It's like be reasonable, essentially.
Mm-hmm. You could have rent on a house.
That's your item, Brent.
That's what it lists in the description. It's so funny.
I think that was just an example of like what the cost would be.
This is mid-range.
I even brought my dice tower. I did that like a sponsored bit. My dice tower.
Hashtag not sponsored.
These headphones back on so I can hear these crazies.
This is good audio right here.
Hey,
Yeah.
I love that audio. Let's go.
Tinkle, tinkle, tinkle.
Okay.
We all love the sound of clicky clacks.
Who should we roll some ciphers for first? Let's start with Jake. He's on the top left of this screen. So I'm gonna roll.
Oh boy.
Jake, I'm rolling some ciphers for you.
Okay.
Okay. Cipher number 1. Ooh, starting off strong. You have a level 6 cipher of recovery.
Okay.
So this cipher will give you 6 points that you can put back into your pools when you activate it. So it's basically a one-time recovery roll.
Okay.
And because it's level 6, that's why it's 6 points. So, and then your second, do you start with 2 or 3 ciphers for your type?
I believe it's 2.
Okay, so we'll roll one more for you here.
I think Adam's the only one that gets 3.
Got it.
Yep.
Holy
But he doesn't know what I am.
Let's
Holy
see
crap,
let's see
Josh!
Let's see what level here. Okay, you have a level 3 cipher of invincibility.
Oh, shoot.
For 3 rounds of combat, you cannot take damage regardless of the roll. I'm assuming you can still probably be moved places. You just can't be hurt. So your pools are locked, basically. So those are your 2 ciphers that you've accumulated. Let's do Mike next. You ready, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, a nice high number. Let's see. Ooh. Mike, you have a level 5 cipher of pausing time.
Yo!
You
Awesome.
can,
That's perfect.
You can pause the effects of time on one creature for 5 rounds of gameplay. That is your first cipher. And let's see what the next one is. This D6 loves you. Here's another level 6 cipher.
Yes.
Level 6 cipher of improved might. So your might tasks will be, I'll let you choose whether you want it to be a one-time use that eases a might task by 6 steps, or whether you want it to be a 6-round use where might is eased by 1 step.
Oh, you son of a gun.
Yeah, I went there.
You've given me 2 options. How dare you?
Chat says I'm looking for loopholes. What loophole did I go looking for, chat?
Of course, Wash would say such a thing.
Yeah, Wash would say that, wouldn't he?
So I'll do the one big
All right.
6.
So it's a consumable cipher that will make 1 might task easier by 6 steps. Good gravy. Okay. That's and you just get 2, right?
Yes.
I'm going to roll for let's do Cleo next. Cleo, do you want
All right.
ciphers?
Yeah, I'll take 2.
Okay. Cleo's character concept indicated that possibly they wouldn't be interested in ciphers. That's why I checked.
Interesting.
Okay, so 13 plus 11 is... Wait, I can do this. 24.
I could see why he would have them, you know?
Cleo, you have a
Yes.
level 5 cipher of illusion. You can create a small illusory effect that is a difficulty, an intellect 5 difficulty to see through. And it'll last...
And this is like a one-time use, right?
Yeah, it'll last 5 minutes from when you cast it. And then your next one... Ooh. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. You have a level 5 cipher. We'll call it a level 5 Midas cipher. You can turn an object into gold, and the new object is, because it's 5, the 5th category of expense is like hella expensive. I don't remember what they called it.
Exorbitant?
Exorbitant?
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Exorbitant.
Exorbitant?
And then Trevor, are you an adept? Do you have 3 or do you have just 2?
No, I have 2 also.
All right, let's see what you get. Oh, Wash, there are some abilities that specify specifically that you can move things without damaging them. I was just saying I don't think invincibility would apply to such abilities because you're not being damaged. I don't think that's a loophole. I think that's just reading. Let's see here. Trevor's got...
Josh is like, I'm not looking for loopholes. I'm using comprehension skills.
That's right. I'm reading the book. My gosh. Trevor, you have a
I like
level
that sound.
6 cipher of turning into a giant. The ability is turning into a giant. You turn into a giant for 6 minutes.
Jeez Louise.
That's awesome.
That
Wow.
kind of goes against what my character's trying to do.
That's so funny.
It is funny.
Wash is like Trevor just gets a cipher of hold my beer.
Well, this is funny. The other one is, let's see what level it is. I forgot to roll for your level. This one's only a level 1. You have a level 1 cipher of invisibility, which means that you'll be invisible for 1 minute. So for 1 minute of being a giant, you could be invisible if you want to.
An invisible giant.
The invisible giant sounds like the name of like a children's book.
That's true.
There's some ciphers. Oh, we should roll some for Chasm Jasper. Let's give
There you go.
Jasper some ciphers.
He
Dude,
deserves them.
He's our Rick Flag, Rick Flag. That's the name of the character in Suicide Squad, I think.
I don't
I'll
remember.
double check.
Okay, he's got a level 3 cipher of being able to grow plant,
Nice. That's always a good skill.
which I'm going to interpret. So the chart is like distilled into single phrase headings. I'm gonna distill that into something like entangle. I'll say entangling plants because I don't think the other one's very applicable in a cave. And then his second cipher. Ooh, 18 plus 16. Big rolls. 28 plus 6 is 34. He has a level 2 cipher that will induce sleep.
Useful.
Induce sleep, so that would mean it would be an intellect 2 task to resist. And the 3 would be speed 3 to escape the plants. All right, and there's our character sheets.
Yeah.
Good work, everybody.
Go team.
Yeah.
Don't forget to save them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
no
forget
kidding.
to save. Forget to save your PDF. Print it to a file if you're worried about your saving. What's up, Cleo?
I mean, we could do this off stream. I might need a little bit of help coming up with equipment ideas because the way I have this character envisioned, can't imagine what they would want.
You could
You
just
know.
you could just pick some things that are related to their compulsion that are of varying cost. We'll work on it off
True.
stream. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We'll work on it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go around and meet each other's characters a little bit here. I'll start with Chasm Jasper to give you guys kind of a sense of how much information we're sharing or how much to hold back, and then we'll kind of go from there. We'll go around the group, and I'll get to use my spotlight overlay. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
I'm not really. I don't have a spotlight overlay because nobody cares about the GM. Everybody just cares about the players.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Chasm Jasper, the Gold Guardian of Gaim, is an honorable dwarf warrior who defends the gate with a magic flavor. He's a career knight. He's a combat guy his whole life. He's well over 100 years old now, probably into his 200s if we're being honest, and he's kind of aged out of the public life. You know, being a gemstone guardian generally involves being visibly awesome, right? Like you're an honor guard. You're supposed to intimidate threats away. Jasper has sort of moved into the paperwork and administration section of the Gemstone Guardians. You know, he has, as the Gold Knight, he has the seniority over the rest of the Gemstone Guardians, but he's not really out there fighting all the time. He's the dude who's getting like the intelligence reports and he's combing through information and he's starting to hand out assignments, but he really wishes he was still out there fighting. He's still like on the inside, he's still got the fire. He's just like, he's been there the longest. He knows all the systems. He's getting saddled with all the dumb work. He's also the one who interacts with the queen the most, which for our story is going to be pretty important because he's going to get stuck with a dumb assignment of his own and have to assemble a team related to it. That will kind of be the impetus for our adventure. So that's Chasm Jasper. He's got a might of 18, speed 11, intellect 9. So he's really, even though he's doing a lot of intellect things, he doesn't have a lot of stamina for it. And that is, by the way, an important distinction in the Cypher system. If the GM can interrupt here for a second, your pool does not indicate your skill at a thing. It indicates your stamina at doing the thing. The assumption in the Cypher system is that you're already dope just for being in the game. So it's not like 0 to hero progression. If you stayed at tier 1, you would still be way more powerful than the average being in Uredah. But yeah, so that's Chasm Jasper, and that's kind of his deal. His motivation is really just that he's honorable. Like, he cares a lot about doing the job well. He's a virtuous dude, you know. So that's going to be Chasm Jasper. All right, you want to do Jake? You want to go next?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Aha! I like this
Fancy.
spotlight screen. This is cool. So my character is Willard Taffey, the exiled dirt speaker who throws with deadly accuracy.
All right.
Nice.
Willard Taffey is a retired Tumbleweb sheriff who is getting up there in age. He's known as an old timer who's past his prime and has been wandering from city to city, kind of just doing his own thing. He's known as very sweet on the outside, but kind of chaotic. Like, when he shows up in a town, you really don't know what's going to happen next. One thing is for sure, he's going to ask you to drink his famous peach tea. He's really proud of it. He makes it all the time. And he just really likes it when people drink his tea. He was known as a very quick draw, fly by the seat of his pants kind of sheriff, and he brings that attitude in his adventures as an old man wandering around as well. He also does not make it a secret that he's not a fan of these newfangled gadgets and artificery and all these things that people like Elaine Mollusk are trying to shill to everybody and make a televibe. What the heck is that? Like, he's not a fan of how things are going in that regard. But yeah, that is Willard Taffey.
I love him. Give us a little preview. Like, if we were doing a trailer and he had like the hero shot, you know, like what would his one-liner or whatever be?
Well, first in the hero shot, you would see an albino molefolk wearing a black duster and a black cowboy hat with bandoliers of throwing knives strapped across, and he would say something like, am I supposed to look at the camera, look away? I don't understand these things. And that would be his line in the outtake for the trailer.
He immediately breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Love it. Mike, tell us about your character.
Oh no, I will be playing Armis Thrupp. His tagline, hold on. He is a tier 1 sharp-eyed speaker, Cipider speaker who works in the back alleys. He is a 49-ish year old Cipider-Man wearing a very fine pinstripe suit with some artistically applied patches as time has worn it down. He hangs out very frequently at the bar. He has a walking cane that he is going around with, and you'll always see him around the gambler's table clearing people out. And he's always got a big smile on his face. He's not always everyone's favorite person, but goddammit, he's not going to let himself he's not going to let that bring him down. He's always going to be the most charismatic man in the room and do his best to win you over. Not much is known about him. He kind of showed up out of the blue one day in this part of town and just started drinking himself into the dirt and playing cards. Not many. He looks pretty feeble, but one time someone saw a kid try and mess with him, and they slapped him really hard with the cane. And he makes it very vocal that he's not a fan of the insignia of the gem guard. He thinks he could do a much better job of designing it, and anytime they stroll through town, he's always trying to sell them on a much better design that he himself can implement.
Love it.
Very nice.
Let's meet Trevor's character. Oh wait,
Hello.
we didn't give him his hero scene. Give us his little hero scene.
Oh.
Just like, his clip in the trailer for this action movie. His one-liner or whatever.
You hear him say "King me" as he throws down a full house on the table.
Let's go.
And he pulls all the cards. He pulls all the money towards himself as some people are screaming at him.
Does he have a voice?
Kids! I don't know yet.
Let's meet Trevor's character.
I will be playing Devroid Devroid Gravelheart, a dwarf speaker who separates mind from body with a fantasy and skills and knowledge flavor. He is a very gravelly and gruff detective. Very fresh in the detective field, like upstart. He didn't do too well in the academy as a like beat cop, essentially. But he has since been working to try and prove himself. Not many people know too much about him, although he operates very routinely. So he is always at the bar at a specific time, like 2 times a week. He has very nice like business attire or work attire. So it's like pressed khakis every day, a button-down shirt, a tie, and an overcoat. He always has his notepad scribbling various observations down. He's very direct to the point. What people do know is that he's a very hard worker. But not people. There's a lot of like speculation about his personal life that he is not very forthcoming about.
Gotcha. What would his hero shot look like in a trailer? His one-liner he delivers, or his ism he's doing.
If you're doing something wrong, I'm gonna find you.
Ooh, a little Liam Neeson in there.
He's a mysterious
All right.
gentleman.
All right. Guy's a little scary.
I'm really nervous.
Hey, Cleo. Let's do this. Tell us about your character.
Don't mess up! Do it! Oh, God, what's your scene?
Okay. All right. Frode the Forsaken is a tongue-tied Hematitian explorer and fucked around and found out with the Fae. With a
Focus.
Fucked around.
He's a
and found out.
mysterious one for sure. He makes his time in coin fighting in the pits of the bar. And we all know there's a reason there's a sign on the front door that says no hats allowed. And you don't want to be the one who forgets. Now, he's a little strange and disappears from time to time, and no one knows what he gets up to on his own. But everybody seems to know he has one obsession and one alone. Well, maybe 2. One love and one hate. Always listening for words about the Fae. And don't you dare bring about hats in this conversation.
What's his hero shot look like in the trailer? What do we see him do? Is he like jumping off the top rope? Like what's
The hero shot is him taking a punch to the face, unmoved, unfocused, and it's a solid punch. And he just stares down the person who punched him, and then he just pretends to fall over and goes, "Ow, I have been injured."
And then it cuts to a shot of him raking in money.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then at the end of the trailer, there's a shot of Chasm Jasper with a bunch of like dossiers in front of him, like, "You've got to be kidding me." And then like the title hits, and like boom, you know.
Is that a hat?
These are some awesome characters, and I'm so excited to see them play at the table. Let's work on some of our group relationships here. So choose a character at the table with whom you have some sort of prior relationship and define it together. It should include the reason you're drinking buddies at the local Grub Bugs, Grubs, and Mugs. That's the bar. If I may suggest, it seems like we have 2 people with a law enforcement background, so they seem like a logical pairing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 2 are just the other 2. I don't have a reason why it's logical for anyone to naturally drink with Cleo's character, but I think that it
I
would
like
kind of make
their
sense.
vibe. I just like their passion for the fight and what's going on with the hats. I just need to find out.
We share riddles sometimes while drinking.
We share what?
Riddles.
Riddles. Yeah, we're big riddle people.
Riddle people. What about how did the two of you draw together, Jake and Cleo, and Trevor?
Willard spends a lot of time at Grub Bugs, Grums, and Mugs, basically trying to like they let him make his peach tea there as long as he gives it to employees for free. So he's there a lot of the time, but they definitely could have bonded out on the streets if I don't know. Does your character kind of like a vigilante type or like more just
or like a PI?
Yeah, what does your character do day to day?
Definitely like a strong sense of justice and wanting to bring in evildoers, if you will.
Okay.
Is he like a Batman PI?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely a chance that our characters would have connected out on the streets, especially in the evening time. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Like over there, like
they're
love
both...
of justice kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would your character like be doing casework or detective work?
Not publicly. I don't want to share too much more. But yeah. So yeah, I think maybe if we encountered each other at Grub Bugs, Grubs, and Mugs, there maybe would be a bit of a kindred spirit feeling of like, yes, you and I, we want the bad guys
maybe
to be
swapping war stories at the bar.
Yeah, swapping war stories.
You definitely see him come in, put his coat and hat on the rack, and just very like this is where I'm going. Very directness to like goes to the same place to sit down. Gets the same or gets whatever food is like they're making that day.
Yeah.
Gets 2 ales. Like he's very routine and methodical about how he behaves.
Okay, I think in that case they would have. I like even what Cleo said, like swapping war stories. I think
Where'd
we
you say you
definitely
put
would
your
bond
hat?
over that.
On the coat rack.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Willard definitely keeps his on. So yeah.
I would say Willard has definitely had a run-in.
I was just about to say, so
with 4-Day.
The next thing to do is to create a little bit of tension between the two pairings. And we've got 2 shady dudes and 2 law enforcement dudes. And then we've got dudes with hats and dudes without hats. And that seems like maybe there's your tension right there.
Yeah.
There's your and that can be a long running tension that's just like can you just drink up in the loft tonight? So because he's here and he's gonna see your hat and it's good. So that kind of tracks. And then we're going to also figure out our growth arcs. So in the Cypher system, growth arcs are a mechanical thing. They are important and they influence your XP gain. And so we're going to decide on one first. Decide on one for just your character if you have not already. And if you're looking for it in the SRD, if you're like clicking around, they are in the experience points section.
Can it be a custom one based on your character's backstory?
It totally can, as long as there are definable steps in it. The way that here, I'll read the basis here. So a character arc has an opening, which for your first one we don't need. Your character's already on that journey, but in general, you would spend 1 XP to begin a new character arc, and it would set the stage for the rest of the journey. The steps are the actions required to move towards the climax. This is what we would look for at the end of a session. Did you do this? And each of them results in a reward of 2 XP. There's a climax, a finale point at which you have either, like, this is the moment where you succeed or fail. So, like, if your arc is to, if your character arc is to create Frankenstein, right? There might be a research step, and there might be a prototyping step, and there might be a whatever. But then there's going to be your climax step is going to be like, I plug in Frankenstein. Does he wake up or not? And that would determine if you succeed or fail. If you're successful, you get 4 XP. If you fail, you still get 2 XP. And if you are successful, there is a resolution. The resolution is a like tying up of loose ends, and it results in a 1 XP reward. It's usually done just as like epilogue almost, where it's like, we say, oh, in this session, we wrapped up this character journey. What does that mean for your character? And it's like a discussion at the table kind of a deal. And And progress on a character arc is determined like with the players. So at the end of a session, you would present to the table, hey, I think I took a step on this character arc in this way, and then the table would decide if they agreed with you or not. So it's supposed to be like not GM led, basically. It's supposed to be like kind of a player led thing. I mean, I'm one of the voices, but I'm just one of 5. So
I have a question.
Yeah. What's up?
Should these be something that we expect to complete by the end of this whole thing? I know that's a little bit meta, but...
Well, yes, these are going to influence how you play the game. This is all your job. This is forcing you to play a character who has some character development. So you should certainly be aiming towards trying to accomplish them. But you don't need to try and stretch it over 12 sessions or whatever either. If there's only 4 steps, there's no reason you can't do them in the first 4 sessions. There's also really no limit on how many arcs you can be on. So like if you want to start opening up other narrative channels and what, like you can do that. It just, you spend an XP to start it. I would suggest that maybe since it's our first time doing it, maybe start with just one for your character to kind of focus on and do one at a time. But you do you, boo. I'll read through them for the chat here and pick one for Chasm Jasper. So the sample arcs that are in the book are aid a friend, assist an organization, avenge, birth, like have a child or foster someone, build, cleanse, creation, defeat a foe, defense, develop a bond, establish yourself in a role or create an enterprise, which like the enterprise one is a good description of a group arc in our last adventure. Where it's like we had the main quest going on, but also our party was very focused on like we're going to establish this organization or this enterprise. There's explore, there's fall from grace, finish a great work, instruction, join an organization. There's a bunch of these. I think that for Chasm Jasper, I think maybe, I mean, I guess maybe enterprise makes sense, but it's an order like to start the thing. So I don't know that I don't think that fits in with his personal journey. I think his personal journey might be restoration because he's like, oh, I'm out of the game. I want to get back in the game. You know, the description here is you want to restore your good name, recover what you've lost, rebuild what has been destroyed. You've been knocked down, but either way, you want to pick yourself up. So, and the opening is like a vow to yourself. So this is a good arc for him. And there's a section on page 2 of my character sheet here where I'm going to put it. So yeah.
Can I ask a clarifying question about my character?
Yeah.
In all Vegas ways possible, we kind of know what my character is looking for. Would I say like any step on managing or learning or anything about that would be like progress towards that goal?
If I were you,
because I mean, it's a really far end goal.
If I were you, I would use the sample option before redemption, just so chat doesn't hear what we're saying. The sample option before redemption, I would just take that and reskin a little bit of what's in there to line up with what you're trying to accomplish. For Chasm Jasper, he's going for restoration. So the opening step is a vow to yourself, which maybe I'll just demonstrate that in the first session. And then his steps are... He's got to do some work. Oh, I see. The steps are just figuring out what the work is and doing it. So it's like working towards getting back in the game. So it might be like a montage training in the mountains or something like that. And then the climax is like proving that he's back in the game. So maybe he'll begin this like a little bit, desk bound, and he'll have to like get back into the swing of things over the course of our adventure as he like builds his team or whatever. And the resolution, if he succeeds, is he gets to like kind of get back in the field a little bit. So that tracks. Has everybody else kind of landed on an arc for themselves? It's okay if you have not.
I'm stuck between 2. And I just want to pick one, but I'm not sure. They both are very applicable. The first one is establishment.
Okay.
You want to prove yourself as someone of importance. This can take many forms socially within your order, financially, or even romantically.
Okay.
Or develop a bond. You want to get closer to another character. This might be to make a friend, find a mentor, or establish a contact in a position of power. It might be to turn a friend into a much closer friend. The character might be an NPC or a PC. Those are 2 that are very applicable to where he's at right now.
It might be easier to pursue establishment.
Okay.
Just because establishment is a little bit more like self-focused, so it's easier if you feel like you're not getting the NPC interaction you need or whatever to like still get that.
Sounds good.
What about you, Jake? What are you thinking for Willard?
I have one that is based on some secrets.
Ooh, you
that
don't
he
have to share it then if
has.
you don't want to.
But I'm also trying to figure out how to make that more specific and actionable, because similar to what Cleo was describing, it's like this is a very far-reaching goal, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And also, could you, where are those example arcs located?
They are in the experience points chapter of.
If it helps,
Great.
Jake, I tried to break it down into like the simplest steps possible, right?
Yeah.
So like writing any kind of report, right? You got to start off with like, all right, base premise. Like sometimes maybe you're not at the base premise yet. You need to figure out the base premise. Maybe you just need little tiny steps that build towards it is how I'm going to tackle it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So anytime that I think I take a step towards understanding or learning or you know, something like that.
So yeah, figuring that out.
Figuring it out. What are you thinking, Mike? If you want to share, you don't have to share.
I was also, I mean, if this is before we know what we're about to get into, then I think possibly aid a friend might be fun, because he's kind of had a long history of not doing something like that, and he's just kind of starting to make some actual connections with people. And so I think it might be fun to see him try and actually do something nice.
Sure.
A little bit more selfless.
Okay. That's cool too, because it provides kind of a motivation for him to engage in the main story.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Okay, I think I've found like an example arc that might work.
I see some options here for the group ones as well, but I don't want to talk about them until you're done looking at your personal ones, just because I don't want to overwhelm everybody. But let me know when you're ready for those.
Is there a separate group one, or do you use the same?
I'm pulling from the same subset. We're just saying that there are several things to influence the way we play. So the arcs, more than anything, are about influencing the kind of story you want to play. So they're the journey your character is on, the journey the group is on, so it gives you something to... There's none of that like, well, we stand in town and don't know what to do, right? Because you're steered by like wanting to... Your group has a thing you want to accomplish. And then there's also a campaign arc, which is just like the actual mission of the campaign. So that one... that's almost like what we would call milestone leveling in D&D, where it's like, you know, I will know when you've taken reasonable steps and I will assign XP for it. So...
All right. I have finished writing out my character arc.
Nice.
I got mine.
Okay. Mike, are you done?
I believe so.
All right.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
Bloob. Very cool. Let's talk about the group then. I was just thinking, I should copy the synopses of these into another tab so I could just read them all instead of having to scroll, but now I'm doing it like I'm still working on it. So I'm just vamping for time right now as I talk to you, as I scroll down here and do this. But we're almost there. We're real close because I'm in the U's. So
there you go. I believe in you. You can do this.
I believe in you as well. That's why I'm looking at them.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, great. So based on the flavor of our story and the inspirations we're taking, the 4 options that I think would make sense for the group to be on this journey are assist an organization. You set out to accomplish something that will further an organization. You're probably allied with them, or they are rewarding you for your help in some fashion. This would be the least effort put in. It's just, am I doing the thing that I was supposed to be doing? And like the journey is, all of the steps are towards assisting them. The ones that I think are more fun and fit more with the vibe than that are develop a bond. You want to get closer to another character. It might be to turn a friend into a much closer friend. I think that using that as like, how did the group do at coalescing, where the journey you're on is like there are people who don't coalesce and then they learn to. That's a pretty classic buddy cop trope over the course of the movie or the show. I think repay a debt is a good one, where it's like maybe your team is assembled by cashing in on some leverage. Well, we know that that's going to happen. Like part of it is they have leverage over you. That's how the government trusts you. But like trying to like clear your name or, you know, wipe out the ledger, as Black Widow would say it. And then the last one that I think could be fun is uncover a secret. There's knowledge out there that you want. It could be an attempt to find and learn a specific special ability. It could be the hunt for like a lost password or a key that will open a sealed door or whatever. In our case, it might be something to do with like maybe there's a little bit deeper of like a conspiracy or a recurring villain who we're trying to uncover, something like that I could add into the adventure, and that would fit very like heavily into like the Loki Suicide Squad influences. Of like, even though there are multiple missions kind of in the background, there's like the shadowy figure. So those are the ones that I had in mind. You can also pitch others if you have other ideas for it, but I think those would make for a really fun group dynamic. What are your thoughts?
I like Uncover a Secret.
I was going to say that as well.
I like Uncover a Secret. I know for my character that Repay a Debt fits more into his personal arc, but I think Uncover a Secret plays into the genre really well.
I like Uncover a Secret.
All right. The group arc will be Uncover a Secret. And the steps that are specified for that, the opening is naming the secret. So this is probably an arc that we won't be able to begin like right on session 1 because you haven't discovered what you don't know yet. But I'll make sure early on in the adventure there's something that we don't know about. And then the steps are there's like research, investigation, you know, tracking down a source of some of your secret information. Whatever that looks like to try and dive into the secret. So trying to solve the mystery. And then the climax is like the revelation. So you know, have your encounter with whatever the secret is, and the resolution is whatever that means for the world, which means that you would get to speak heavily into the epilogue of that journey. So that pretty much concludes our session 0. Is there anything else that you have questions about regarding your character sheet, specific rules, anything like that we can cover here?
Does the rumor thing happen now, or is that at the beginning of the first
That's what
session?
I was just about to... Before we left for the night, I realized I had not had you hand out rumors, so we're going to DM some rumors to each other tonight. But it doesn't really matter whether that's on stream or not, because we're not going to read them out loud. I don't want everyone to know all the rumors. So
yeah.
At least not out loud right now. But so we'll do those. Any other questions mechanically, rules-wise? Chat, do you have any questions about the magic that just happened here?
I'm really excited.
Me too.
Me 3.
It'll be fun.
I think it's going to be very fun.
That wasn't a question. Just kidding.
Well, we're getting the audience hyped.
Oh.
Okay?
I guess for armor, is there any like base level armor, or is all armor additive to 0?
All armor, so you start at 0 and then you put on armor, and that chooses how much armor benefit you get. The armor will specify. And then the way armor is used is when you take specifically damage to your might pool, armor can be subtracted from it. There are a handful of exceptions, but that is the basis of it. Shields are different. A shield is an asset to your defense roll. So when someone tries to hit you, you roll a defense roll. If you've got your shield, that's an asset on defense. So it eases the defense roll by 1 step. But it doesn't like modify the amount of damage you take if they hit you or anything like that. Also, one thing that I noticed as I reviewed the rules this week that we didn't do it wrong in our trial session. It's just an extension of a rule. If you use a level of effort in combat, we've used them to make the attack roll easier. You can instead add 3 points of damage to your attack roll with a level of effort. You cannot do both.
Cool.
Like you could do 2 levels of effort and spend 1 on each, but it's not, 1 level of effort doesn't get you both benefits.
Gotcha.
Just so you know that.
Yeah, that's neat.
That means if you crit with a level of effort, you can get like, is that 7 extra points of damage, right? Like a 20 is +4, and the effort is +3. And a natural 20 actually gives you back whatever points you spent on the roll. So if you spent any effort, you get all that back. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for us here at the Winged Badger Tavern. Thanks for hanging out with us, chat. I know this one was a little bit slower as we created our characters and reviewed rules and learned how to use PDFs. But next week, is it next week or Jake, or are we missing next week?
Let me look at how calendars work.
17th is next week. I think you're here next week.
I'm here on the 17th.
Yeah.
I'm just gone on the 24th.
So next week,
Yep.
come back and join us for session 1 of the cleanup crew. Until then,
wait.
from all of us here.
Wait.
Oh,
Are we gonna do it on stream or off stream when we're doing the little gamesies?
we're gonna do it. We're gonna do that off stream.
Okay, just double
If
check.
you
don't
want to
get
see
to see
something
us
funny,
have fun.
jump into our Discord. We're about to play a really silly game.
There you go.
Okay. Have a good night, GGs and GN.